Hey guys, today I have a book haul to share with you. So, this is actually a very short book haul, you guys. I only have 12 books to share with you, so let's get going. This video shouldn't be too terribly long like it typically is when I do these book hauls. First up, I have this book right here. This is, what is it? This had a pretty long title, I feel like. This is called Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood. I guess is the first title for this trilogy. Yeah, this is a new trilogy by Sarah J. Maas. I have previously read Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I love that series. So I was like, I definitely got to pick up this and see how it is. I'm honestly not quite sure what this is even about, you guys. I kind of only picked it up because of Sarah J. Maas's name. That was kind of the selling factor for me. I do know it has something, it sounds like it has something to do with like demons and angels and a dark criminal underground of some sort. It's another fantasy. Let's put it that way. It's another fantasy world that Sarah J. Maas has created. And that's kind of all I needed to know about it. And yeah, there's a really cool image in here once you open up the book. That is really awesome. So yeah, I can't wait to get to this. Hopefully Sarah J. Maas does not disappoint, because yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the Court of Thorns and Roses series, like I said. Next up, we have The Girl in the White Gloves by Carrie Maher, and this is a novel about Grace Kelly. And you know what? I know Grace Kelly through name. I know she married into like the royal family of Monaco. That's kind of the extent of all I know, you guys. So I'm actually pretty thrilled to eventually read this and find out more about Grace Kelly, you know, get a little bit more inside of some of the history there through this historical fiction novel. So this should be very fun. If you like all things Grace Kelly, you might want to pick this up. Next up, The Light in Hidden Places by Sharon Cameron. This is a World War II historical fiction, and if I'm not mistaken, this is based on a true story, and if I'm not mistaken as well, this was previously made into like a made-for-TV movie. I want to say back in the not 2000s, mid-90s. I want to say starring Kelly Martin. And yeah, this is based off of a true story about a young woman who helps hide a bunch of Jewish people as Germans are invading. And yeah, I definitely can't wait to get to this. This is right up my alley. It sounds very, very good. Let's talk about Sanditon, yeah guys. This very controversial adaptation of Sanditon. I personally loved the Sanditon miniseries. It didn't really particularly bother me too much. I mean, I was a little upset with the ending, but that's okay. When I saw that there was an adaptation of the miniseries, I was like, ooh, yes, I gotta get that. What we know about Sanditon, this was Jane Austen's final unfinished novel, and she only had written about 11 chapters, apparently. And what the Sanditon miniseries does is it keeps those first 11 chapters, and then after that, it goes on with kind of their version of events, what they think Jane Austen might have done, perhaps. And that's kind of the big controversy. A lot of people feel like the way the miniseries ended, it didn't feel very Jane Austen-esque. So yeah, I wanted to get the book version of this, because it does have Jane Austen's original 11 chapters, if I'm not mistaken, in here, and then has what the miniseries did. And yeah, this is a team up of Kate Riordan down here. This is a team up with Kate Riordan expanding on what Jane Austen wrote. So yeah, I definitely can't wait to get to this. Next up, The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. Right? Foley, yes. This is like a thriller, it sounds like, in the vein of Agatha Christie. And yeah, just reading this really brief synopsis back here, it's so great. It says, a New Year's reunion in the remote Scottish wilderness. I'm already hooked right there. The beautiful one, the golden couple, the volatile one, the new parents, the quiet one, the city boy, the outsider. One of these friends is a murderer, and one won't make it out alive. Oh my god. So yeah, that's all I need to know, you guys. It's some sort of thriller. It almost has like a very and then there were none sort of vibe to it. So yeah, definitely am excited for that. Next up, Operation Mincemeat, right? Mincemeat, yeah, by Ben McIntyre. And you guys, let me tell you a fun story. I have a fun story for this one. The only reason I became aware of this book is because I was just browsing through Barnes and Noble, and it's gotten to the point, this is rather embarrassing, it's gotten to the point that I'm so often at Barnes and Noble that I think a few of the employees recognize me. So one of the employees that I have talked to a few times, he approached me and he saw my basket of books and he was like, oh, let me recommend you another type of book. So he took me over to the nonfiction section, the World War II section, more specifically, and he showed me this book, and he was telling me how much he really enjoyed this book, and he was like, I think you might like it. So yeah, this is what this book is about. Near the end of World War II, two British naval officers came up with a brilliant and slightly mad scheme to mislead the Nazi armies about where the Allies would attack southern Europe. To carry out the plan, they would have to rely on the most unlikely of secret agents, a dead man. So that's all I needed to know, you guys, that there's a big old thing going on, that people were, that they were forging some documents that belonged to a dead man in order to kind of infiltrate key Nazi areas and yeah, spy work essentially, espionage. So I was like, I told this Barnes & Noble employee, I was like, hell yes, this sounds really awesome. So yeah, because of his recommendation, I did end up purchasing this. So yeah, thank you Barnes & Noble employee, because it's like he knew, he knew kind of what my taste would be. So this is perfect. Next up, Tombland by C.J. Sampson, and this is like book, oh lord, what book is this? I think maybe 6? I want to say this might be book 6 in this series. I think it's the last one in the series at the moment anyway. What you need to know about this series of books, since this is the last one in the series, they all take place during Tudor England during the reign of King Henry VIII, and it follows a guy who he investigates for the palace essentially. Whenever there's something crazy going on in it, whenever there's a murder or some scheme or plot, this guy he's a detective, and he unravels those mysteries and clues and does a bit of forensics. He's kind of like the Sherlock Holmes of Tudor England almost. So that's kind of essentially what these novels boil down to, just Tudor mysteries, if you will, and I love that sort of thing. So yeah, I finally have the last book in the series here. I'm not sure if it's the last one, like the very, very last one, but that's the last one that's been published so far. And yeah, I definitely recommend this series. If you love the Tudors, if you love like a mystery thriller sort of thing with the Tudors, you might want to check out this series because they're very, very good and very compelling. Ooh, I got a controversial one right here, you guys. This book has been everywhere. If you're on Goodreads, this book has been everywhere. This is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. And this book, it takes place in a contemporary setting. It follows a woman who previously had a thing going on when she was in high school. When she was in high school at 15 years old, and she had a relationship with her 42-year-old English teacher. So that's kind of the basis of this book. This woman who is now an adult reflecting on a past event with her high school teacher, and I think there's a little bit more to the book other than that, and yeah, there's been a lot of controversy with this book. I'm kind of going to just leave it at that because I don't want to get into all the politics about it. But yeah, this book, it sounds really awesome, you guys. I don't think I would typically pick up a book like this, but because of just all the things I have read about it and just all the surrounding information, I was like, I'm very intrigued and interested, and I want to form my own opinion about it, rather than people on Goodreads telling me how I should feel about it, I want to form my own opinion. So it does genuinely sound very, very interesting. I'm very curious. I'm wondering if this is going to turn into some sort of murder eventually. I'm very curious if someone's going to wind up dead, and there's going to be like a thriller aspect to this. So yeah, My Dark Vanessa, and a very beautiful cover too. Next up, this is probably one of the books of 2020 that I'm just the most excited for. This is The Deep by Alma Katsu, and you guys, all I needed to know about this book was the fact that it had something to do with the Titanic. I saw the words Titanic and I didn't really care what else it was about. But yeah, for the sake of this video, I'll let you know what it's about. Yeah, this book, it takes place a little bit on the Titanic. I think the majority of the book probably takes place after the events of the Titanic, and yeah, some weird stuff has apparently gone on the Titanic. People who were supposedly dead or not dead. Yeah, there's a lot to this book. Yes, I definitely recommend checking out the Goodreads synopsis. And yeah, Alma Katsu, she previously did a book called The Hunger, which was about the Donner Party. And I'm dying to actually read that book as well, because it's kind of in a similar vein to this. And yeah, if you like something like Dan Simon's The Terror, I think you'll also maybe like The Deep. I think it's very reminiscent of something like The Terror by Dan Simons. But yeah, I definitely can't wait to get to this. Titanic is all I needed to know about it. And you guys, it's finally here. It is the third book in the Thomas Cromwell series. This is The Mirror and the Light by Hilary Mantel. Yeah, I don't know how to really talk about this, since, like I said, it is the third book, following Thomas Cromwell, who was alive around the reign of King Henry VIII, and very notoriously got beheaded. That's kind of the big thing that happened to poor Thomas Cromwell. He got beheaded. We all know how King Henry VIII was. He was a very angry man. If you displeased him about one little thing, he beheaded you. So yeah, that's ultimately, I'm sorry if that's a spoiler, but yeah, that's ultimately the fate of Thomas Cromwell. As history knows, he got beheaded. He did a couple things that kind of sparked the ire of King Henry VIII. And yeah, the first two books in this series, they came out quite a number of years ago. I think, I want to say it's been a decade. I want to say it's been a decade since like that second book came out. And yeah, fans have been eagerly anticipating this third and final book to the series. And yeah, I have actually yet to even read these books, but now that the third book is here, I think I'm definitely going to binge through all three. That way I think it'd be a very enjoyable experience. Next up, I have a book that I actually won through a Goodreads giveaway, so thank you, Goodreads. This is Fast Girls, a novel of the 1936 Women's Olympic Team by Elise Hooper, and that's all I need to know. You guys, I'm not even really going to sit here and go into the synopsis, but yeah, the 1936 Olympics in Berlin, correct? These were in Berlin, I think? Yeah, the Olympics in Berlin. So that sounds really awesome. You guys, I definitely cannot wait to get to this. And the last book that I have here is also another Goodreads giveaway, so thank you, Goodreads, once again. This is The Nesting Dolls by Alina Adams. So essentially what I know about this book, it's some sort of coming-of-age book taking place over 3 different decades. We have a 1931 setting, a 1970 setting, and a 2019 setting. So yeah, kind of just reading the very bottom of the synopsis here. Moving from a Siberian gulag to the underground world of Soviet refuseniks? I've never heard that word. I'm going to have to look up what that even means. To Oceanside, Brooklyn, The Nesting Dolls is a heartbreaking yet ultimately redemptive story of circumstance, choice, and consequence, and 3 dynamic, unforgettable women, all who will face hardships that force them to compromise their dreams as they fight to fulfill their destinies. So yeah, a lot of this seems to take place in Russia. I'm all about that. I love this. So yeah, definitely can't wait to get to this. And yes, thank you for the win, Goodreads. I always love winning books that I'm very interested in. So you guys, that is it for this really quick book haul. In the comments below, have you guys read any of these books? Do you plan on reading any of them? Just let me know your thoughts down below. And yeah, any of these that I should get to sooner rather than later. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.